Hello and welcome aboard to this episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to following the entire story of One Piece from beginning to end as we focus on one volume each episode. We keep the discussion spoiler-free for new fans of the series, so this is the perfect place to follow along whether you're new to the series or just want to go and revisit the world of One Piece with us. This week we will be covering volume 44, Let's Go Back, which covers chapters 420 through 430. My name is Joel and I'll be your host. Joining me today we have Sean.
This is Sean.
We have Evan.
Hello.
We have Cody.
Hey.
And we have Andy.
Hi.
Yeah, so we have a full house tonight. But yeah, this is an exciting one to talk about. So yeah, I think I can speak for everybody on that one.
Yes, it's a full ship.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. No, stop. Don't say the S word just yet, all right?
Too soon. Too soon.
We gotta try to get through this.
We'll get there. Yeah, so we have a whole volume to get through. But yeah, let's just get a quick recap from the last volume, and then we can get right into it. The Straw Hats managed to defeat each of their CP9 opponents, successfully gathering all the keys for Robin's Sea Prism cuffs, leaving just Luffy to fight Lucci. Frankie was able to blast Monster Chopper into the sea, turning him back to normal, though unconscious. Frankie defeated his opponent first and met up with Nami after she defeated Khalifa. He went on ahead with 2 keys in hand. He met up with Luffy, who was still fighting underground. Luffy held Lucci off so Frankie could get past. Just before Spawn could cross the final step of the Bridge of Hesitation, he was hit by a blast from none other than Sniper King. Confused as to where the blast came from, Spawn ordered everyone to find the attacker. They didn't stand a chance as Sniper King picked off all the forces from atop the Tower of Law. After setting off the mine that Spawn planted on the bridge, Frankie recovered and finally reached Robin. Sniper King sent the remaining keys wrapped in the cloth to Frankie. Now, with all the keys collected, Robin's freedom is in arm's reach, but so is the Buster Call as Navy fleet closes in.
Dun dun dun.
Ooh.
Okay, so we don't have a cover story quite yet because we wrapped up Miss Golden Week's big plan.
Sanji's making a cake, though things have gone not quite to plan.
Yeah, he's gonna be really disappointed to see the other side of this cake, or it might topple over on him. All right, so let's move on to chapter 420, Buster Call. Frankie goes through the keys, but key number 5 is the one that unlocks Robin's cuffs. Spawn can't believe what he's seeing, unable to comprehend that CP9 could have been defeated. Frankie reports back on the transponder snail that Robin is free, causing Sniper King, Zoro, and Sanji to rejoice. Robin gets some well-deserved revenge on Spondum, spraying several arms from his body, then slapping him repeatedly. As Sniper King prepares to get down from the Tower of Law, he pauses as he hears something, but is not exactly sure what it was. Suddenly, there is a massive explosion in the ocean. The warships have now breached the defensive perimeter around the island. Sanji also remarks that the tumultuous waters of the whirlpool have calmed down for now, that the gates of justice have fully opened for the attack. Before Sniper King can get down, the Tower of Law gets blasted from the assault, sending the top half crumbling, falling over into the abyss. Zoro and Sanji stare as their friend has seemingly just been killed, but luckily Sniper King had jumped from the roof as the ground broke his fall. They tell Frankie they'll be there soon, so Frankie decides to fight his way through with Robin with the goal of stealing an escort ship for an escape. Nami makes her way through the underground passageway with Kokoro, Chimney, and Gombe. Further down, Luffy continues his fight with Lucci. Lucci notices the technique that Luffy is using pumps his blood, noting that it's likely dangerous for his body. Luffy doesn't care, and his only concern is helping his friends. Lucci taunts him that now that the explosive has started, his friends will die soon. Not wanting to give them a chance, Lucci destroys one of the walls, causing water to flood in and start flowing into the underground passageway that his friends will try to use. Outside, the fleet of warships have arrived. The Buster Call is here.
Hooey.
Yeah.
What an action-packed chapter.
I'm saying 5 Vice Admirals, 5 podcasters, tag yourself.
I'm the guy that looks really happy with the cigar. He's just like, what a great day on the job.
Like I'll do with the Mohawk.
I don't relate to any of these guys.
Yeah, to be honest, no. Yeah.
Yeah, especially not the one. Yeah.
Let's try Cody.
Oh well, that's fine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't actually get names for them here, but they do have names, but they aren't given a text box, so we don't know what they are yet.
Yeah, you can't make it Vice Admiral without a name. That's for sure. Like I said, it's a dangerous world and a shonen world to have no name.
Like, we may get names real quick.
Yeah. Definitely I think it's really funny that the first thing that happens, like when Frankie goes like, enjoy your freedom, first thing Nicaraba does is slap the hell out of this Van Damme. like
cool,
her face is so great. She's like, I could do this all day. This is so enjoyable.
Deeply satisfying.
So
for sure.
For all but one party involved, but fuck him.
Yeah, that was definitely he had it coming.
A long time coming.
Like especially when like Robin couldn't fight back and he was just like dragging her like by the hair, scraping her on the ground, like pushing her, and like she had to like bite the curb, and so he smacked her and everything. Like so there's a lot going on. So he's just going a little payback here.
I did have another note on the part where so Cyber King jumps down, right? It's we're all not for a moment I think that there was any danger to Sniper King, all right? But this is proof that it's not Usopp, because Usopp couldn't survive a fall from Edith's lobby. No. Sniper King, though. No. That's the truth. So thank God Sniper King was there, not Usopp.
Yeah, it's the power of the mask.
Yeah, that's honestly, yes. If he wasn't wearing that mask, it would have been over.
Now, honestly, Usopp can take a beating. He's probably the one that can take the biggest beating out of anybody, except for maybe Luffy. Because like, how many times has his nose been broken? Like every
giant lump on his head, or his face is turned into the huge thing, and that he was in Whiskey. No, not Whiskey Peak. The
Drum Island.
Waffle. Yeah, Drum Island. That was my Discord avatar for like a few months.
That was a good one. Yeah.
For a part of the body that's so clearly breakable, and like it's so fragile looking, right? He falls down and he breaks his nose. All right, it's got to be the toughest part of his body at this point.
I think so.
I do love how Zoro and Sanji are still so down for the Sniper King facade. Up until he's like, oh shit, no, Usopp, are you okay?
That's right.
It got real.
That's right.
It's very sweet that they're concerned for him, though.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
Yeah, like I think it shows a concern for him. It's like you said, it's nice.
Even Zoro's like screams, Usopp, no, like
yeah. Because like Sanji, I feel like we've seen he's been like really sympathetic towards Usopp, since Water 7 in particular. Like there's been like these moments where he shows like really genuinely care about Usopp, and like even last volume where he told Sniper King, only you can do something, like I'll do something that like you can't do, but you can do something that I can't. So like it was very like crewmate mentality. So it's nice to see like Sanji having those sides with Usopp here, and I feel like after having like these bonding moments, like seeing his friend potentially die, like it probably probably hit him like real hard here.
I also just love like those 2 pounds together at the beginning when they're on the phone, and it's like Usopp and Robin both together being congratulated, like the 2 people who left the crew feeling this validation, the catharsis. It's just nice that you put that together.
Yeah.
So I will. I'm not reading. I don't believe I am. It could be slightly different, but I'm reading like a scan online, right? So I think most of you guys have like physical copies that you're working.
I'm on the Shonen Jump app, but yeah.
So I don't know if some of the things that are translated might be different in certain wordings, because there's one thing that's said during this chapter that I didn't like think about, and I'm wondering about like what the consequences could be in like long term, which is during the Lucci fight, when Luffy's fighting Lucci, he's kind of explaining how Luffy's power is working in terms of like kind of like making him stronger, right? Pumping blood through his body, but a normal person couldn't take this. It's because your body's made of rubber. but even doing so, it's slowly chipping away at your own life, right? Like, so that's interesting to think that, like, if he keeps doing this, right, like how much life is he taking away? How much is he shortening his lifespan by doing this? And obviously he doesn't care, because it is the absolute Luffy mentality of like, I don't know, I'm gonna save my friends no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lucci does say that's not very smart. You're chipping away at your life. So that part is, yeah. I thought you were gonna say that he compares to a stimulant, like a drug, because that's like the translation I got, and that's what I was surprised to not seeing here. Yeah, but I'm glad that part stayed.
Yeah, so he does say, like, you pump your legs and speed up your blood flow. The blood pressure would rupture a normal person's heart. So I think it's like the blood pressure in particular. But I think it might just be like the stress he's putting on his body. Like, so the more he uses it, like long term, it would have greater effects than like if he used it like a few times here and there. But if he keeps doing this, then it might have lasting effects on him.
His central nervous system's gonna be fucked.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, so Lucci's in his leopard form, and he's taunting Luffy that his friends are out there getting killed, and it's like, it's just a matter of time. And he decides to break the wall and flood the tunnel to not give them a way to get here. So, like, kind of just like making sure that like he's covering all of his bases here, and so it's pretty like cold and calculating of Lucci in this case,
and also extremely petty and sadistic.
Yeah,
which is what I love about Lucci.
I do agree he's very sadistic. I wouldn't personally say love is the word I have on him, but
I guess that's what just because like I'm used to a lot of people saying, oh, Lucci's a boy antagonist, Lucci's just a dog for the government. Like, no, like he has like agency, and like there's some character, and that's I love the fleshing out of his character in that respect.
As a villain, yeah.
He's an asshole.
I gotcha.
But,
I think it's really I think he's actually really terrifying, honestly, like as a villain. Because like his motivations are very extreme, but also like his justice that he's looking for, but also like his urge to just cause pain. Like, it's terrifying. Like, to have somebody and like he found himself in a position of like high power within the government. So like, who's going to like oppose him, right? Like, it's terrifying.
And pretty much the only reason he has that position is so he can cause pain. Which
so again, love's not the word I would go for. Terrified, scared, like
abhor. Yeah, that's what I abhor about Lucci.
Yeah.
Anything else on Lucci?
At the moment, no.
Yeah, we'll get more of him later.
Yeah.
I kind of miss his human form at this point. I don't know. It's like, hey, he's a big tiger man now, and it's cool. But mostly I miss Hattori.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Where do you think he went?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I hope
he's
living,
outside.
I hope he's living his best life. Like.
Yeah, maybe he's kind of like scoping outside. He's like, I'm just gonna chill out in like the fresh air.
Yeah.
Let me know when it's all done. Like, I don't want to be cooped up in the underground passageway.
I hope that where Hattori flew off to has intense ramifications for the story at large around chapter 1300 or something. That's
definitely.
Well,
Hattori's already found the One Piece. Like,
oh, wow. I don't want to jump ahead too far, but we do get Hattori in this volume.
Oh.
But they're chapters. There's some period of time within them, and anything could happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we end the chapter on the very like dour note that the Buster Call has now arrived. Like, the naval fleet is here, so they can't escape at this point.
It took a minute, but it's
It was about 10
There's
minutes.
a lot to get emotion with the Buster Call, right? There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they got here. and 10 minutes. I mean, they didn't have to go too far because Navichi was like nearby. They did have to get everybody together and assemble this fleet. Get the vice admirals. Who, luckily, they weren't doing anything else important, so they were probably just chilling, waiting for buster calls to come by. So, do you guys have anything else on this one? Evan, you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's get Cody's summary for the next chapter.
Chapter 421, Gear 3. Towers begin to fall as the Buster Call begins its fire upon Annie's lobby, only avoiding the bridge where Robin stands due to orders from Admiral RPG. The nearby Marines start running from the cannons, and Robin finds herself unable to stop shaking. At one end of the undersea passage, Zoro and Sanji carry Usopp, who has broken an indeterminate number of ribs, in a makeshift sling toward the other side. On that other side, Nami, Kokoro, Jimmy, and Gombe all start running back to the entrance and away from the wall of water rushing toward them thanks to Lucci's interference. Lucci taunts Luffy and moonwalks up to a higher level where the water won't reach, and Luffy follows him. He suggests that Luffy go help his crew and ease his worries, but Luffy knows that Lucci will go after his friends if given the chance, so Luffy resolves not to take his eyes off Lucci. Lucci commends Luffy's strength as a captain and swiftly attacks him from one angle after another. Luffy is able to wrap around Lucci's leg and hit him with a Gum rifle, but Lucci uses Iron Body Hollow Tree to counter it, and notes that Luffy's strength has been depleted after using Gear 2. Lucci, however, still has enough strength to flick the air with enough force to hurt Luffy and not maneuver him for a bit, but Luffy Gum stamps himself out of a Tempest Kick, then says he has another trick left. Gear 3. He places his thumb in his mouth, bites down on the knuckle, and blows air into his bones to inflate himself and punch Lucci with an arm the size of a giant's. Lucci's unbothered at first and readies his Iron Body, but misjudges as the Gum giant pistol connects, and not only sends Lucci straight through the wall of the tower they've been fighting in, but causes half the structure to collapse as well.
All right.
All right. I want to say something off the top here, Evan. Not Evan. Sorry, Cody. There's a lot of people today.
Yeah.
Cody, I admire your ability to differentiate those while you were saying the summary. If I had written the summary, I would have taken the easy way out and just called him Rob the whole time.
Rob! Let me Control F the entire rest of my document.
Luffy, Bob Lucci.
I'm like, who's
Bob Luffy. Rob.
All right, that's all.
I'm a rubber leopard man.
Monkey D. Rob. Yeah. So Evan, I want to start with you because this is your first time actually seeing Gear 3.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I wonder if that's why he bites his thumb. You think that's why? I don't know.
I think so. It's the
Yeah, so
impression I got.
so like Cody was saying, like he inflates himself through his thumb, and like he like blows into like the thumb, and I think like the air pressure like inflates himself.
Does he blow through like the thumbnail, or like does he cause a small wound, or does he like how's he get like? I mean, it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna be real. In my mind, I don't think any air is actually be blowing in. I think it's just a mental thing. Like I've always, at least from how I've always read it, like Luffy is like such an idiot that he's like, this works this way, right? If I just blow into my thumb, it's gonna get really big, and then now I can punch people.
As a fellow 40K fan, from what I heard of you earlier, are you saying that Luffy operates on orc logic?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yes, he would get along great. Yeah. Red makes it go faster, obviously. Yeah.
You know, like my friends give me power. Yeah, all right, that works.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I'm buying it, but I think you sold me. No, I do think he's legitimate, like blowing himself up like a balloon. Like he calls it a bone balloon. I don't know like how much the bone is actually being affected here, but whether or not he's like opening a wound by doing the bite, or maybe it's like just like the air pressure like from the thumb. I don't know. It's one of those things like probably don't think about it too hard, but it's just
I am
One of those
reading.
things.
I checked the One Piece wiki, and it's at the I mean, there's no source for this necessarily. It says bites into his thumb, creating a small opening in parentheses. Is what they said. So I guess he's making a small cut in his thumb. I don't know.
That could be it.
I guess,
That
but
I think
I
that makes as much
honestly,
sense as anything. So
it really does. Like,
I live my life with one rule, which is to believe everything on a wiki. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's all just the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah, this is such a cool sequence, though, and it's such a cool reveal too. I think we kind of see the air like traveling through Luffy's body into a concentrated place in his fist, which is that last page of this chapter is just so incredible. I mean, Luffy's fist is the size of a building.
yeah, it's really funny because like he blows into his right hand, the air travels through his body and goes into his left arm to make his left hand like blow up. So like he blew into the other hand to blow it up. So maybe that could be part because like maybe because he does have like the hole in his thumb, like he doesn't want like the air to escape right away, so it goes to the other side.
Yeah, okay.
He's probably still figuring it out.
But it is really fun to see like the way like his body is like kind of inflated because of like the air he put into it. As opposed to like, you know, just doing like a gum gum balloon where he just takes like a deep breath and like inflates his entire body. Like he's more concentrated with like where the airflow is going, I guess. So I think
this is cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. And like you said, it kind of feels like a natural progression because he has inflated himself before in the past, but never quite like this. So it's a cool evolution.
And it's quite powerful.
Simple, yeah. Such like a mechanically simple power. Definitely compared to Q2, it was just like one of the biggest like, what the hell am I looking at moments reading this. I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now.
It's kind of funny, like looking or like going back in retrospect and looking at some of the earlier shots in this chapter. It almost looks like he's using that effect earlier just because of the angle of the camera or like the angle of the perspective of the shot. You know, he's got like huge fists even earlier in this chapter, which I only just noticed that like on the read through, but maybe a little bit of foreshadowing.
That's a really good point.
I
think
speaking of foreshadowing, I don't know if this is explained at some point during this chapter, but there's the moment where Luffy's telling Lucci that he's not going to take his eyes off of him because if he does, he'll go kill everyone. Which, by the way, is already saying something. I mean, Lucci's insane. He's terrifying. And literally, the next panel is just this like grim, like shadowed look of his face, laughing. Not a stable individual. Not stable.
Not stable.
He goes on to say, like, you're worthy of being a captain. I'd like to tell a certain idiot I know about you. Like, who's the idiot? I know that's what a sentence, but who's the idiot?
I think I've got a couple ideas, all of which start with S and end with am.
Yeah, it's Bondum. But this line did confuse me at first as well because I looked up to see what other people were saying to see if like this was somebody else that was more specific, but it's Bondum.
It is? Okay.
Yeah. Just because like he's been following Spawn, but this shows he doesn't respect him. And he knows Spawn's like incompetent, but like he's like, well, I mean, orders are orders. Like I'm just gonna do my thing. I don't want to like I want to keep like I have a good gig here. I'm gonna keep this gig going. So like I'm just gonna do what I need to. But yeah, I think he just doesn't respect Spondum as a person or a leader. So I think he's at least giving like Luffy a compliment that like, hey, at least you know how to be a leader.
All right.
And I feel like it's even more of a comment for Luffy given the fact that Lucci will actively fuck with Spandam. Like when they're first being followed, Spandam's like, "Oh, why did you tell me there was some guy?" He's like, "You give me the order."
Yeah.
Sorry. And so, like, okay, you're actually showing respect to someone. That's wow. Huh. It's also just a great character over Luffy because that's his whole thing this arc, and that's really he really did have full awareness of the situation and is acting like a captain. Like it's a very good judgment of him right now.
And what do you guys think of Lucci's like fighting style here?
I really love the way that Razor is drawn here. Like the way that his body fades into the zigzag for the first one, but the way some of the panels are drawn, like I think the page before Luffy like chomps on his finger for Gear 3, like just the panels are literally encircling Luffy, and I think that's such a cool choice. And just the fact that like Lucci has eyes like almost glowing, he's literally just a predator in the jungle at this point. I think it's really, really well expressed.
Kind of cocky of him to just stand there and take the arm of a giant, though. Just saying.
I mean,
I understand he's taking all the hits so far, but it's like, all right, you're really confident.
Yeah, he does say cut the cheap tricks, and then he prepares an iron body, and he prepares to brace it. But like, I think he thinks, oh, it's just gonna be like a balloon hitting me. It's fine. Like, I don't think he thinks there's any like actual weight behind the hit.
Because why would there be, right? Because how does that work?
It's kind of funny though, because like in so many of Luffy's other fights, he'll do like just some wacky BS that actually isn't very powerful, but it's really funny. And and everyone's shocked by it. Lucci does the opposite. Luffy's been going full serious, like tactical this whole fight. Luffy's like, this is a joke. There's no way.
That's a good point, because Luffy is taking this fight very seriously. There's not like a moment where he's like, trying like these like fun things. Like he knows that like there's like a severity to this, and like Lucci is literally like a killer. Mm-hmm. So like there's no like messing around. Like so he is legitimately concerned about all of his friends, and like we talked about how he says, "I'm gonna take my eyes off of you." Like he doesn't want to give Lucci a chance to go out and kill every single person he loves.
That is very interesting. It's the like what you were saying earlier, Cody, about whole like Luffy beat Luffy being a captain, which is like honestly like not a thing. Luffy's like a great leader in a sense, like that he's fighting for his friends, but like being somebody who's like aware of the danger and the situation, it's not something normally I feel like I see from Luffy. Like he's very headstrong, he goes in for it, but here like he really recognizes like Lucci as a dangerous person, like that, like he can do some serious harm, and like he is taking this fight very seriously. So that you're very right about that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I feel really bad for Robin at the beginning of this chapter.
Oh yeah,
where she's kind of like reliving the trauma that she's gone through when she was younger. So like this is like the second time she's experiencing a buster call. And it was like the most horrific experience of her entire life, and like it literally like makes her like fall to her knees and like she can't stop shaking. So, like, it's really rattling her. But like this is like I guess like the worst thing she's had to go through before. So now it's happening again, and this is what she's been afraid of the entire time. This was like her one of her main motivations was to prevent this from happening, and she didn't want her friends to be caught up in something like this and have to go through what she went through. So this is like her worst nightmare like coming true.
Yeah, like again, like Robin's whole thing is like knowing history to not allow it to repeat itself, and so often does she warn everybody of like what the Buster Call is, like kind of like what it means, and like because people don't understand when she says no, like when they do this Buster Call, they don't care, like they will just destroy everything. Like I don't, like you don't understand how bloodthirsty or like cold this is. And I mean, she was a child at that moment, and she like, it's lost. It is a horrible moment for her to relive. Yeah.
All right. Anything else on this one?
On a brighter note, look at Spandam's face.
Yeah.
I love how like disfigured he is from the royal beating he took. Looks like a completely different character.
That's right.
He's trying to give Usopp a run for his money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm excited about Gear 3. I think this is a really cool ability, and I'm excited to see it again. But after a little practice.
It's our first time seeing it, but not the first time he's used it in the arc, because he did use it off screen. All right, but let's move on to chapter 422, Rob Lucci. On one of the ships, the soldiers ask their vice admiral how they should handle capturing Nico Robin. He says not to worry about it. He goes on to tell them about a story that happened 15 years ago. A kingdom had been taken over by pirates who captured 500 of their soldiers. In exchange, the pirate captain demanded to be made king. In response, the world government sent in one boy to infiltrate. The boy managed to make it to the soldiers and then killed them all. Angry that the leverage is now gone, the pirates retaliated. The boy stood there as the pirates launched cannonballs at his back. In return, he killed the pirate captain. The boy took dark justice as his calling, and later became an agent of CP9. The Vice Admiral explains that if that man is here now, they won't need to lift a finger. They are to annihilate everything except the Bridge of Hesitation, where Robin is. As Zoro, Sanji, and Sniper King make their way down the passageway, Sniper King expresses concerns about the tunnel flooding. His fears are justified as Nami and the others run back towards them with a rush of water behind them. Zoro is unable to cut through the wall as they are all overtaken by the water. As Luffy's giant fist knocks Lucci outside, Lucci is concerned he'll be knocked out and fall into the water. As he lands on the warship in leopard form, the soldiers question who he is. They are ordered to lower their weapons as the man is identified as Rob Lucci, now back in human form. Luffy gives chase as he launches himself to the ship as well. The two continue their battle, causing destruction to the ship. A vice admiral on a nearby ship orders for the men to fire on their ally ship. When one of the soldiers protests that they still have troops on the ship, the vice admiral shoots the man who spoke up. He asks the rest of the soldiers if anyone else has a problem with doing whatever it takes to take out the world's most dangerous criminal. They fire on the ship, destroying it. Well, we got Lucci back in human form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, tattoo.
We get a little backstory for Lucci as well.
Yep. Just as totally stable as I thought he would be.
Yeah. This guy's the picture of mental health.
Yeah, and he has a term for what he calls his form of justice, which is dark justice. So we see some of the members of the Navy and the world government have their own form of justice. You know, we've seen Kuzan with his lazy justice. So I think this is a little different than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of Lucci? His methods of just killing the hostages.
It's yeah, Andy.
I'm a little shocked that so the government, the navies haven't been painted the greatest light so far as we've progressed through this arc, and this chapter definitely doesn't help it that much. But one thought is so the government sent Lucci in his backstory, right? And he killed all 500 of their soldiers. Was the government okay? Like they were like, you should go kill these people, or is what was the objective? Was
maybe any means necessary, take back the kingdom or deal with the pirates. He could have also. I mean, I was gonna say, well, never mind. But the point I was gonna make doesn't matter because they're aware of the actual story. But yeah, it just sounds like the government doesn't value the lives of their soldiers, which is also a great example of how Enies Lobby is being treated here as well.
Yeah.
In this exact chapter, actually.
Well,
yeah,
I will say if they didn't, clearly they don't value the lives of their general soldiers, as one person who opposed the Buster Call was immediately shot dead by a vice admiral. What that's great. But it's if they didn't value the lives of those 500 men, then why did those pirates have any leg to stand on to take over the kingdom?
So, well, they took over. So I think they're the soldiers from the kingdom, and I think they're a kingdom that's part of the world government, but they weren't actually Navy soldiers. So just to clarify that, but the pirates, that this was their, this was their plan, and basically it didn't matter. So I think it was kind of to prove a point. It's your plan doesn't matter. I'll kill them myself. So it's not about saving people. It's about stopping you. So I think that's just kind of what it came down to, and they just valued the power of what Lucci can do. Hey, we can at least take this guy in and make him our secret weapon. And I think that's what they value more than anything was how they could use Lucci. So I think Lucci doesn't mind being used because it suits his what wants and needs as well. Where he's like, I just want to kill people.
He
So
just likes killing.
Yeah. I got
And
there I go
500
killing
people.
again.
Whoops.
Am I
He's
able
a
to bring up
captain.
something from the SBS in the next volume, since it pertains to this?
I'll say let's wait till we get there.
Sure. Yeah. So if you could just remind me to come back to this next volume, I'd love to.
So we might get
But
more answers in the next volume. So
Yeah, pretty messed up of the government to let them die.
He's a cat who kills his prey for fun.
Mm.
Yeah. He's a real swell guy.
Yeah. World government's like, he's assassin material if I've ever seen it.
killing innocent people, that's the kind of man we're looking for. But I mean, like all jokes aside, but that kind of is true because like we've seen like in Ohara, we saw Sakazuki did what it took to destroy the evacuation ship. And just in case there's any chance that somebody like knew about the poneglyphs. And then at the end of this one, like Cody was saying, they also destroyed their ally ship. So I mean, like that seems to be like they respect any means necessary kinds of people as long as they get the job done.
Yeah, they're clearly more concerned about image than lives.
Yeah, the status quo, as it seems.
Yeah.
Those seem to be the kind of people that seem to excel in the Navy.
Real go-getters. Did you hear about that one kid, Lucci? I killed 500 soldiers right off the bat right there. It's like, real good of them. Yeah,
He's
we
only
should move
15.
him up.
Holy cow.
Oh, wow.
That kid has a bright future ahead of him.
Not great conversations to be heard within the world government.
Sorry, we got Katie now. You heard that, though.
Oh, no.
Well, shit.
I will say this conversation that we're having right now does make me appreciate the scars on his back being shaped like the world government symbol even more.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had done that too.
Yeah, because I already liked it from the beginning. But this gave it a lot. What y'all were saying gave it a lot more significance to me. I have to say, so that's wonderful.
I don't think I noticed that until
I did
this
not catch
read-through.
that. I didn't catch that until you just said it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good shit, Oda.
That dark justice.
But I was under the impression that was the scars he got from the cannon fire, so they just happened to land in the shape of the world government flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just more bonus points for why he should be promoted.
Or did he intentionally like take the shots in a way where like it hit? It's almost like he's gonna a tattoo. Like, hold on, let me wait, it's a little higher. Okay, perfect. Okay.
He moves so
Yeah,
fast.
You shaved specifically for that.
Yeah.
Shame.
Also, like, but he's been an assassin since he's 13. That's also kind of huge.
He's doing this for a while.
When you love your job, you never work a day in your life, right? So.
Yeah.
We get some more Gear 3. We see Luffy take down an entire warship single-handedly, or in this case, single-leggedly.
That was pretty cool.
Pretty impressive. He does seem to have the hang of this ability.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Gear 3, when it showed up, I definitely did think for a moment of, and he mentioned it here, which is, yes, it's really cool, it's really big, but it's like, it's probably really slow, right? Like, you know, he got a lucky shot off on the first one, but like, how many can he land? And like, even here, Lucci's just jumping around him, so but it's definitely causing a lot of destruction to the other Navy ships, so that's a positive, I guess.
Yeah, well, Lucci has the benefit of being able to move fast enough where he can dodge it, where a lot of the other people probably not so much. Well, the ship itself can't move out of the way, so even if they see it coming, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And not to keep going back to that last point we were talking about the value of the lives, but I also want to note here that the only target is, say, from the Buster Call is actually Robin. So the only person whose life they actually value here is not one of them. It's Robin. So that's kind of going back to the point of saying is like, as long as they get the job done, that's the only thing that matters. Doesn't matter how many lives they have to throw away in the process, as long as they get their goal. So they're very much like the ends justify the means. Yes, I just want to point out it's like interesting here that Robin is the only person who they're valuing here.
That's a really good point. Not to go too far back to the designs of the Vice Admirals too much, but I just want to appreciate Vice Admiral X-Star's drip. The black overcoat, sick. The fact that his stripes on his Marine cap have zigzags on them, sick. Again, probably not a great guy, but like the drip is there. I just want to appreciate that. That's all I got.
Yeah, and then we also have the tunnel being flooded, and pretty much the rest of our protagonists get washed away.
Not good.
So can't cut the walls at this point. Too much steel. You can cut steel, but only so much.
This is reinforced steel.
This is Woot Steel something.
Woot Steel armor.
It's John Krieg. I'm back.
Yeah. So the Krieg special.
Oh no.
They cut me out of the live. They cut me out of the live action show.
The last thing I wanted to mention in this one is I just think it's interesting that we actually see Lucci go into full-on leopard form, because we saw like Kaku in his like regular giraffe form, where he looked like a normal giraffe. Now we have Lucci for one panel, he turns into a regular leopard instead of like some kind of hybrid form.
It does, yeah. It almost feels like whoa, okay, he can do that. All right, right, yeah, I guess he can. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that he could, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting that I'm sure his bite would have been just as effective in at either one of the forms, right? But like he's like, I feel like a leopard right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make some silly point about the nature of animalistic. I think Oda just wanted to draw a leopard, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
This would be a sick panel. And he was right.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. How about we get Cody's summary for the next chapter?
Chapter 423, Mermaid Legend. Luffy deflates himself in Gear 3 to propel himself away from the burning battleship and onto the support structure. Shrunken, he notes the disadvantage of his new transformation, and Lucci watches from above, unsure if Luffy is serious but glad he didn't die in a boring fashion from the bombing before razoring back toward him. The party carried by Omi and Kashi avoid bombs as they get closer to the island gate. Spandam laughs now that he thinks Luffy's dead, and questions why Frankie's bothering to help Robin when she isn't even her crewmate, let alone a pirate. But as soon as he says Tom's name, Frankie punches him in the face. Spandam draws Funkried and plans to kill Robin while pretending to aim at Frankie, but Frankie takes the hit and stops the trunk. Frankie points his forearm barrel at Funkried and gets him to back off, then reminisces about his inability to save Tom, but lauds the Straw Hats for their strength and commitment to rescuing Robin. Ever since Tom was taken, Frankie had thought of a million ways to make Spandam and the government pay, so he takes the opportunity before him to grab Funkried by the trunk and swing him like a hammer onto Spandam. Frankie starts firing on the Marines with weapons left, glad to give his life up to make an escape path for the Straw Hats, but Robin has gained the strength from realizing she's not alone to help hold the Marines back as well. Back in the support structure, Lucci finds Luffy, still in his post-Gear 3 form, and slims himself down with Life Return, paper art fighting form. He immediately closes the distance to Luffy and finger pistols him into the wall. All Luffy can muster is a tiny punch, and Lucci wedges him into the wall. Lucci starts performing a barrage of finger guns, but nearly collapses before he can connect. The damage from before is affecting his ability to stand. This gives Luffy just enough time to turn back to normal. Underground, the Straw Hats have been swallowed up by the water flooding in and start to black out. They realize, however, that something is pulling them. Sanji catches a glimpse of a tail fin and long hair. He thinks he's dreaming, but hopes that if he is seeing a mermaid, that it doesn't end, until he realizes that the mermaid in question is none other than Kokoro. Ooh-wee.
Kokoro!
Kokoro! The power!
Mermaids are real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
In a world of pirates and devil fruits, mermaids being real, yeah, that sounds about right.
Although we did see one other mermaid in the series, and then Hachi's backstory. So we did
Yes.
see Kenny. But yeah, now we have another example of a mermaid, which is probably less of what Sanji wanted to see, more of what he's getting. So. Yeah, thoughts on this one?
Great Frankie chapter.
Yeah.
I thought he got his
I
arm
mean-
cut off.
Yeah,
Frankie?
I did think that too. Yeah, with the
For a split second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great Frankie scene. I love how right before he smashes Spandam, he's like, I've thought of a million ways to make him pay. But I bet you none of them were smashing him with a giant elephant.
He's improvising.
I will say, so I've had my own issues with the Viz translation of One Piece in the earlier parts, but I've really been liking the last couple of volumes. And I think what Frankie says to Funkfried really, really impressed me. And Andy, I know you're working off a different translation, but verbatim. So Frankie stops Funkfried and says, "Lose the nose knife, Jumbo, unless you want a bullet between the eyes." And I'm like, that's just. That feels like a very Frankie way to say. It feels like they just got his voice down the way they wrote that line out in this translation. It just tickled me. I love it. Jumbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think
Following
Jumbo was
that-
a Dumbo reference, but they couldn't do it for copyright reasons.
Also, that would recognize that the world of Disney exists within the world of One Piece. I don't know if we want to venture into that area. So following the part after Frankie saves Nico Robin, I like how he goes on to kind of say, like, I like the spunk. I like that everyone in the Straw Hat crew is willing to take on the world for their friends. And Frankie, in a way, like, he says the same exact thing. He goes, "Well, I'm gonna give my life to save these people." Then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. So you're all one big crew then.
Yeah, so for him, it's worth it to put his life on the line for these people that he just met.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they've really gotten through to Frankie.
Yeah.
So he's been very inspired by them.
And not only just met, but people he was actively antagonistic towards, and who
Yeah.
to a degree
Yeah, he's horrible.
antagonized him as well.
Yeah,
They were just his latest
still hard to
victims.
forgive him. Still hard
Yeah,
to forgive him
but-
sometimes.
But great character growth,
Mm-hmm.
or at least character progression. I don't know if it's growth.
And definitely, I got a little teary-eyed during the moment where Robin kind of collects herself, right? Kind of realizing that it's not the same as back then, right?
Yeah.
And the flashback of Solace telling her to go, and she's saying, "No, there's no one at sea. She's gonna be alone." And she's not alone. She has people who are willing to take on the world itself with her. So that's a wonderful moment of she kind of overcomes this dark mental hurdle of the Buster Call.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, it really helps her face this challenge. So she realizes that her situation is not the same, and
Mhm.
she's in a better position now, and yeah, there is hope.
Yeah, it's also nice seeing her doubling and tripling down on her loyalty with the Straw Hats and being a part of the Straw Hats, because for so long she was we've been seeing Robin denying that and doubling down on the opposite. She was trying to save them. So it's just nice to finally see that switch.
Well, is for sure when I was reading this up to this point, Robin being part of the Straw Hats was still always a questionable thing to me.
Yeah.
It's because she's so easily swapped between Baroque works to the Straw Hats, and it's tough to really kind of get a gauge on her. I just could never really tell what her real motivations were at the time. But this I think for sure at the beginning in this lobby where she proclaims that she wants to live, I think that was definitely the moment where she wants to be a Straw Hat. It's that moment
Yeah.
she wants to be part of the crew. She doesn't want to give it all away. I think this is the moment where she is like part of the struggle. Like she knows she's part of them. Like it's not a want. Like she is with this like family of hers. So
Yeah, I think that's
And
like
she's
also like
confident they're going to save her too.
yeah. So like I think like you said, up to this point, it has been a question mark because Oda's done a great job setting that up for this character, her backstory, her history, what we know about her. She always felt like kind of aloof and not really committed to them. And then we find out like she kind of betrays them in Water 7. But then we find out her real motivation. So I think Robin, up to that point, just like couldn't like I think deep down she knew she's like I have fun with them and there's something different about them and I enjoy being with them. But I just know it's gonna end up the same way as it always does. So like I'm at least going to do them a favor and try to save their lives. But like it's not gonna last. But when she says I want to live, that's where she's like, no, I can't have my cake and eat it too. So that's where she does have that moment where she's like, no, let's do this. Like I'm going to commit to this crew, and we're in for the long haul. Like I want to be a full on member with this crew. It's I think that's that moment where she admits it to herself as well. But yeah, on a different note, we get to see Lucci can also use the life return technique that we saw Komodora using. So that's interesting.
Oh.
I think I forgot to say this in the other chapters. It really is remarkable seeing just how far Lucci's mastery of the 6 powers is beyond the other CP9 members.
Yeah.
Just the fact he has like a whole modified version of Shay, this counter version of Iron Body. The fact that he also knows life return. It's like it makes sense that his power level is like almost twice as high as Kaku's. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
That is fair. That's also like why he's so deadly, is because like he does have such a mastery over these already superhuman abilities. Like it's like another level, like way beyond what anybody else is doing.
So
then,
at the beginning, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say at the very beginning of this chapter, when we see Luffy start shrinking, I'm definitely picturing like a balloon that is like losing its inflation, just kind of like zipping around, kind of haphazardly, like screaming away.
Even the way his mouth is drawn.
Yeah.
In the next portion where the flooded tunnel, there's it obviously is very funny with Kokoro, but I do have to say, like, I love the small panel with Chopper, kind of like
I was gonna say that one.
Yeah.
it's very cute, and I'm just like, oh, he's in his own little world.
He's
He
so
doesn't know
cute.
that. Yeah, he doesn't know the danger.
Yeah.
He looks so at peace.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though he's like dying. Yes, we'll get more of the Kokoro Mermaid stuff in the next chapter. Do you guys have anything else on this one?
No.
I just love everyone's faces underwater, just like, just like,
Yeah, some good stuff. And they're like trying to process like what's going on. Is it, like a Jugon? And before we do go on to the next chapter, we do have the SBS where Oda has his drawings of the CP9 members as kids.
Lukaku, love ships. Aww.
And then we get a little Hattori as well.
Spandam looks like a little shit. God dang. Hattori looks good.
wait, is this what you said when Hattori was going to show up in this volume? Is this what you meant?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Stay
trying to
tuned.
remember. Yeah, I'm waiting for it because like I don't remember it.
Yeah, Spam's definitely saying my daddy has more money than your daddy.
Dude. God, look at that smirk. Oh, what a punchable
the
face.
stupid suit. Like, shut up, kid.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing a suit like that at like 6 or whatever? Like,
The fact that he thinks he is like the shit right now in this is crazy. Like you can definitely tell. Like it is Brady's like, I am the coolest person right now. I'm like, no, you're not. Look at you. You look like an idiot.
Although it
Very
is
much
weird that Funkfried is in elephant form because Funkfried is a sword.
Yes.
I think headcanon, he lost his childhood elephant and was like, "Daddy, give me money for an elephant devil fruit," and then gave it to the sword.
You must be right. Yeah, but that might not be Funkfried. Yeah, because it didn't say Funk Fried.
That was Fried Funk.
He just had an elephant since he was a kid.
You know, like everybody has a fucking elephant when they're a kid. Privileged little shit. I hate Spanish. I had to get one.
He does go over the top with the elephant theme, though, in his like office and his personal area.
It's true, yeah.
Wait, no, don't make me listen to that. Fuck. No, he sucks. It's fine.
Okay, let's get on to the next cover story. Where are they now? Shot 1. Konus, Isa, Rocky, and Noah walk across the bars. Yep,
Adorable.
that's all I got. I have nothing to
Yeah.
add to that.
Yeah,
I like
it's cute.
Made me smile.
But it's nice to see that they are getting along now. They're sharing the land, and they're they've come a long way since where they were before. Okay, moving on to chapter 424, Escape Ship. Frankie clears the soldiers off their escape ship, claiming it in the name of Frankie and friends. Now they just have to wait for the rest of the Straw Hats. You have to wait long as Kokoro jumps onto the ship in mermaid form with the others in hand. On the main island, the Frankie family and Galila are carried by Oimo and Kashi, running towards the entrance as fast as they can. They make it, but are now facing 3 naval warships. They begin firing. Back on the escort ship, the others recover from almost drowning. Kokoro gets dressed as she notices Robin made it. She laughs as she thinks back to when they met at Shift Station. She initially didn't take Luffy seriously about his declaration about him becoming the king of the pirates, but after what she's seen, maybe he really will. The others are coming to as Sanji struggles with his conception of what mermaids are supposed to be and what Kokoro is. She explains that when mermaids reach age 30, their tail splits into 2 legs so they can walk onto land. When they notice Robin is there, they have a touching reunion with their friend, and she thanks them. Chopper realizes he can't move, so Zoro offers to explain what happened to him later. They look in horror as they see the island they were just on being destroyed. Frankie explains their ship isn't being attacked because the Nebu's ordered to take Robin in alive. Once they've completed their assault, they'll focus the efforts on getting Robin back. They aren't in the clear just yet. They just need to wait for Luffy. Sanji tells Frankie he's sorry about his friends, but he tells him not to worry, they'll find a way to escape. Unfortunately, Oimo and Kashi have just been blasted and knocked into the abyss, along with the rest of Galila and the Frankie family. Luffy declares he'll keep Gear 2 up until he wins, no matter what effect it has on him. Yeah, so R.I.P. Frankie family and Galila.
Yeah.
Yes. One Piece, the series known for killing characters off.
It's like Game of Thrones up in here.
It's the opposite of Game of Thrones up in here, but yeah.
I didn't see a bomb. I didn't see lightning. They're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the rest of death is just death in One Piece.
Yeah,
of course.
exactly. Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, just like Sniper King early in this volume, he died as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love Frankie telling someone else to put clothes on.
That's really funny. Yeah, so Kokoro says, I wonder what could have shocked them half to death. And Frankie's like, you.
I do think it's funny that in a way she did more harm than good initially, and they had a higher chance of death on the initial sight of Kokoro in the water.
She saved them. She was an MVP over here.
Oh yeah. Also, that grandchild of hers is not the brightest. Yeah, I did think it was weird. You had scales and fins. It's just, yeah, really.
I don't know what's going on with Shimmy. There's something up with that kid. Did we ever? So did Shimmy's parents ever explain? Are Shimmy's parents Tom and Kokoro's kid, or is that just something for us to guess and or assume? Because this just made me remember that I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if it was said, right?
Yeah.
Well, they also never stated that Tom and Kokoro were together,
Right.
but that's kind of the impression I was getting. But they never actually stated it.
Yeah.
Right, that's what, like, wait, okay, like, is it just this impression, or did I miss something? Because I'm like, I don't know. Where'd this weird kid come from?
Might be an SBS
Wait.
question.
But like so,
maybe, yeah.
yeah. Well, it definitely feels like an SBS question. But is Kokoro's grandkid a part mermaid then?
I think it's also an SBS question.
Dang it! Darn it! We'll find out later. Hopefully.
Unless Jimmy and Gobi are adopted, we have no idea.
Again, that is true. There's a lot. There's a lot unknown.
I'll stop myself.
We're making a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she can't be a mermaid because, like, doesn't Kokoro explain that, like, you get the feet as you go into your prime? So, like,
When you hit
initially
30.
Yeah,
Maybe
so initially,
Yeah.
if you're a partial mermaid, the rules are different. Maybe it's
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, so I think Chimney is only part mermaid.
she's a really bad mermaid. She almost drowned right there. It's just like, again, just you gotta work on that.
I mean, she literally didn't know apparently until quite recently. So it might have been psychosomatic. Like,
I guess.
And like I think Chimney's a great kid. She's very sweet, but she also thinks that a rabbit's a cat.
we're not working with the full deck here.
Maybe Gobi's 25% rabbit.
Shit.
He's still meowing over here,
We're
by the way.
Gobi's parents.
That's also got to be an SBS question.
I'm just realizing that Chimney wears her hair up like Gombe has the cat ears.
That's
I
really cute.
didn't think that either.
They kind of match.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
2 peas in a pod.
It's giving Andy and Ollie from Bob's Burgers.
I really love the shading on this very last panel of the chapter. Luffy saying Gear 2, so good. So good.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, so I mean, there's some funny stuff here. I think the reactions to Kokoro and not being able to accept Kokoro being a mermaid, they try to justify it. But Sanji, the first thing he says when he gains consciousness is Nami all right? So true Sanji fashion.
Yeah.
I love the little hug that Nami and Chopper give. Just Chopper's scream, Bumpy! Bumpy!
Yeah, Sanji tries to dive for
Yeah, they steal
Robin, and yeah, he hits the wall. Also, true Sanji fashion.
Absolutely.
I'm on the next page, Usopp and Zoro's reaction to Kokoro. It's nice getting the side view of Usopp's eyes sticking out and his tongue sticking out. You seeing this? That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Even Zoro's eyes are sticking way out.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say real quick. Speaking of Usopp and Zoro, piggybacking off of Luffy's good captain moment a chapter or two ago, it's nice seeing Zoro get a chance to really shine second in command. Saying, okay, no, we have to wait for Luffy. We don't lose the escape route. We just have to stick this out because, hey, something even worse is coming. We have to be prepared for that. But then on the other end, Usopp, one, goes against his usual cowardly instinct to say, okay, no, we need help Luffy. The guy I just fought with left the crew over. No, we need to help him. But two, he's then very down to go with what Zoro was saying after he had just stirred up such a ruckus. It's nice. It's a very nice direction for both of these, and a very well deserved moment.
Very nice. Okay, let's move on to the next cover story. Where are they now? Shot 2. Wiper and the Shandians, the forest frontier. Wiper and the Shandians take a break after working hard to clear out some of the forest.
Hey, they're still around. Good for them.
Now they can get their life back. Okay, let's get Cody's summary for the next chapter.
Chapter 425, Bridge of Mortal Kombat. Ennis Lobby is engulfed in flames and nearly reduced to rubble as Luffy and Lucci square off again. Usopp quietly pleads for Luffy to get out of there, and the rest of the crew is ready to launch as soon as he's out, but they realize that escape will be almost impossible with the warships surrounding them. A transmission sounds, confirming that the group riding Oimo and Kashi has reached the main gates. Frank is excited to hear that they made it out, but the transmission continues and claims that the bombing has wiped them out, and Frankie is devastated. Nami questions whether it's right for people to die so easily, and Robin likens the Buster Call to casually erasing one small island from an entire map. Frankie starts yelling for Luffy to defeat Lucci so he can save his comrades at the very least. Inside, Luffy hits Lucci with a jet pistol, but Lucci jumps backward and raises himself behind Luffy before using finger gun. Luffy dodges and they both manage to catch the next punch the other throws. They struggle, and Luffy pulls his arm back for a jet bullet, followed by a twin jet pistol to knock Lucci into the wall. Luffy continues and gets Jet Bazooka ready, but Lucci closes in and uses the 6 Powers' strongest technique, 6 King Pistol, a blow that sends a shockwave more powerful than an impact dial throughout Luffy's entire body to the point that he coughs up blood. While Luffy's on the ground, Lucci continues the Tempest Kick Fifth Creeper and cleaves the wall of the structure, which the Straw Hats and Frankie notice. Frankie realizes that if Luffy wasn't there, Lucci probably would have killed some of them, and Chopper says he has a feeling Luffy knew he'd have to be the one to fight Lucci. Word that Luffy is still alive reaches the Vice Admiral, who orders the ships to surround the bridge. Usopp gives in to his fears for a second, and asks about the possibility that Luffy could die. Zoro answers by asking he's stupid, and in the tower, Luffy gets back up.
Yes, what do you guys think of this one?
Beautiful choreo.
Yeah.
Yeah, great fight sequence.
That whole part where Nami asks, should it be okay for people to die this easily, and Robin bringing up, well, to them, it's just like taking a small island off of a map. One just talks about, again, how callous the world government is with the lives of people, whether they work directly for them, whether they're a subject of one of the affiliated nations, whatever. But I feel like it also ties into this question that Water 7 brought up of, okay, what makes an object, and what makes an object deserving to be treated like a person? It's like a very sick inversion of everything we've been through with the Mary, with the fact that, okay, this thing that people love has life. And granted, this other, it's a metaphor, not actually, but I feel like the choice of words is a nice contrast to that, saying the government will take people and reduce their meaning if it serves their agenda, their narrative, their goal at the moment. Just yeah. I hate it.
Robin says people can be seen on a map right before she says that line. I think that's a really good line that kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. I mean, yeah, like people are so very important, like, right, like the very soul of everything moving about, and you just don't ever notice them, right? Like you look on something so big picture, right, and like a map, and like you just don't know. Like 1 second they're gone, and how would you know? Like, and that's what's scary about it, is that the government has this power, like to just make something go away, and no one would ever know. And those that could even know are kind of like strong armed or like forced or like have such loyalty that they wouldn't even share that information. It's scary to think that in a moment, you could just not exist. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
And I
And
think
on
this
top
is
of that,
go ahead, Evan.
I was going to say on top of that, even the government even has control over the recorded history of that, as we found out too. So like, they really can make it disappear, like you were saying.
Yeah.
You think about like the ripples of this, right? Like, the people who are removed today, right, through this Buster Call, or from any kind of Buster Call. There are sometimes people who have like relatives on those like islands, on those Buster Calls, right? Like, what happens to them? You know, they go on saying like, what about my father? What about my brother? What about my sister? And like, no one has any response. Like, it's crazy, and like that even more so shows how much people don't see of each other. Because even though we have those ripples, right, of like some being just erased, and then you still have people out there that know who you are, those people don't nearly make enough of a voice or impact in like the vast, like, big picture that like the government even cares.
Yeah, I think this is making a case for why Frankie found it necessary to destroy the blueprints. Because if the ancient weapon fell into the hands of the world government, we know that they would use it. Because we can see what they're doing with the power that they do have. So if they had the power of the ancient weapon, it would just be even more devastation and destruction that they can unleash. So it would be in the wrong hands of people who would use it for their own agenda. And no matter how many lives it would cost. So yeah, I think this is a good example to justify why what Frankie did was for the best.
Yeah, there don't seem to be a lot of checks and balances too, because like I mean, this Buster Call was literally called on accident, like wrong number.
Yeah.
Whoops.
It got butt dialed.
That's
Butt
really
dialed the
did.
Buster Call.
Dial Buster Call.
That's a whole nother level of fear, right? Which is like, there's one thing of like, oh, a world government having all this power and just be able to make you go bye-bye. And then there's also, oh, there's just like idiots in power that could make
Yeah.
you go away. Like, that's ridiculous.
Fortunately, that's also too realistic.
Yeah, again, it's not trying to bring too much of a darker tone
Yeah.
to this. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, I mean, moving on to like the fights, amazing. Like, it's sick choreography moving through it. Six King Pistol is so sorry. So it's a shockwave that's being sent through the body, right? Like that.
I mean, I use the term very loosely. Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured it was a wave of some kind.
Yeah, it does look like it's a strong impact. So my impression is that like he's using the power of all six of the six powers in conjunction to use this technique. Because he has such mastery, he's able to affect him this way. So it's really cool like how he like takes like both fists at the same time and does like this punch into Luffy, like Cody was saying, like it like resonates through his entire body, and it hits him with the force of more than like the impact dial.
Shockwave might not have been the right word.
Could be shockwave. I mean, it
could
could be like a
shockwave. No,
shockwave
I
into
can
his
see
body.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
I'll say
it.
it could be, but it isn't definitively. Just context wise.
And moving on to the part where like kind of like the Straw Hats are discussing it. Chopper says that Luffy knew he had to fight Lucci, and Nami makes a mention of like he's got this animal instinct here that, and I think that kind of reinforces what we were saying of Luffy knew like how dangerous Lucci was. So just like, and that's why this fight felt so different. It's like it wasn't a joke. He wasn't messing around. Like, is like there's so much danger like kind of revolving around this individual.
And he came into it being like, I know I will have to fight him. It's not like, oh, I
Yeah.
might have to fight him. It's like I will.
Yeah.
So like he was like, I have to be prepared for this when it does happen. And it was like, oh, I gotta try to like maybe we gotta like avoid fighting him, or like maybe we could try to get in and out. It's like no, it's gonna happen.
Chopper saw it coming.
Trust in Chopper.
always trust your doctor.
Okay. Anything else on this one?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on. Chapter 426, A Ship Waiting for Wind. As Luffy and Lucci continue to face off, a blast knocks away part of the wall from the structure. The other ships have now surrounded the Straw Hats' escape ship, setting their sights on covering Robin. As the Navy prepares to attack, Sniper King notices they can see Luffy fighting and shouts to him. They tell him they saved Robin, so all that's left is to defeat Lucci so they can get out of here. The rest of the Straw Hats prepare to fight as the order is given for the lieutenants and the captains to begin their attack. Saber King points out that Sanji is missing, but the attack has already commenced. Many of the Navy members have Devil Fruit powers, which one demonstrates as he destroys one of Zoro's swords. Lucci notes that Luffy's attacks are losing their edge. He threatens to hunt Robin down to the ends of the earth in pursuit of his dark justice. Luffy says that they came here to prevent that, but it's no use as he falls to the ground from another impact of Lucci's Six King pistol. As Lucci falls, Saber King was watching. He removes his mask, shouting for Luffy.
Sniper King.
It was Usopp.
What?
It was Usopp all along.
I love that even Zoro. This is no time to space out, Sniper. Oh. He's so committed to the bit. They all are.
Yeah.
They want to enable their friend's mental journey.
Which sword did that guy just destroy?
Yubashiri.
Poor Yubashiri. Ripped to a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the second sword that he got in Logtown. He finds a random sword to fill in the gap.
Yeah.
For the new swords. Luckily, found one like lying around somewhere. But
Also, very good that he didn't swing first with Queen's sword or something.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
of
that
the three
would've
he's
been
got,
bad.
I hate to say it, it's the least valuable to him probably, but like he loves the weirdo cursed sword, and he obviously deeply cares for Queen's sword, but this one, it was a nice gesture from the shopkeep, but yeah.
yeah. So we see different Devil Fruit power users here. So like they said, they're on the same level as like Smoker because they're captain and lieutenant level. Yeah, so it makes sense they would have Devil Fruit users in that rank. So we see like a few like kind of random ones here.
Yeah, I mean, fighting. So they said they had 200 of their elites, right? And there's the same power level, assuming as Smoker, which is pretty intimidating. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's kind of cool. Like, you see them all jumping onto the platform, and then we kind of have like all the Straw Hats fighting together for the first time, really, instead of like isolated battles. They're all kind of fighting
Yeah.
back to back, which is cool.
It is cool. Yeah.
As Luffy's off in the boss battle.
And Sanji went MIA.
Yeah.
Probably doing
Classic.
Sanji
he
things.
did. Yeah.
He's doing like
Classic Sanji.
I've shared this meme with the group before, but it's a meme of like a big bookcase being held up by a single book or something. It's like the big bookcase is like all the Straw Hats fighting their various things or something, and then this book that just says something Sanji did like 2 hours ago that's keeping everything afloat or something, or he's like something he just did in the background or something.
We have another example of Sanji doing something.
Yeah.
And Luffy is running out of steam.
Mm-hmm.
Both figuratively and to some degree literally, yes.
Yeah.
Second win when he hears his friends, like you see, he gets a bit of that back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great moment, that nod that Luffy gives his team. And we also kind of get like a side-eyed smirk from Lucci, who, being like the apex predator that he is, doesn't really get a lot of like team support. So
Yeah.
could be, I don't know. I could be a look of envy, maybe. Probably not.
I think it might be more of kind of like he thinks it as like kind of like silly to like be so dependent on each other.
Like,
where
yeah, to rely on other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does compliment them. He says, your friends are all alive. They're a hardy bunch.
Yeah, I think to him, he's like acknowledging they have like some degree of like competency and like skill. But it's like, but it's not going to last. Like eventually they're just going to be overrun by the forces. So
Yeah.
Not worry about it.
He'll kill them.
Yeah, I'll just get him later. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have too much to say on this chapter. It's definitely like, Lucci fight, and then we kind of see the Straw Hats kind of get into the tussle with the 200 elite.
Yeah,
We're hostages.
kind of true.
We're weaklings.
I think it's just nice to see Robin also being just as much part of this fight as everyone else, and
Oh, yeah.
acting fight
Yeah.
against them. That just it's something really.
Yeah. Like Evan had said, like this is like the moment we get to see all of them fight together, side by side, which is pretty awesome. Minus Sanji, I guess. But again, he's out doing important stuff.
Yeah, you guys good to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are moving on to the next cover story. Where are they now? Shot 3. Gunpowder and Chief's brilliant pumpkin plan. Gunpowder and the Shandian Chief chat while enjoying some pumpkin juice.
Good for them.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, nice to see them getting along, like the two
Yeah.
kind of leader type figures here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the plan was that was so brilliant, though.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just, hey, I have a great idea. Let's just go chill and have some pumpkin juice. Sounds great to me. That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
Brilliant plan. Brilliant.
I'm fine with it.
Okay, let's get Cody's summary for the next chapter.
All right, chapter 427. This isn't the afterlife. Usopp yells at Luffy, who is face down on the floor, to get up as the Straw Hats and Frankie fight off the Marines attacking them. Luffy's surprised that Usopp is on the island, and Usopp covers up by saying that he's just there to save Robin, then tells Lucci he'll be the next one to fight him. Luffy demands that Lucci stay away from Usopp, who keeps egging Lucci on. Luffy berates Usopp for picking a fight that will kill him, and they argue. Usopp screams that lying like a dead man doesn't fit him, and this isn't the afterlife, so he should stop making Usopp worry. Luffy gets the message and stands up one more time. Usopp rubs his tears away and tells Luffy to win so they can all go back together. Lucci releases his life return form and assaults Luffy with finger gun spots again, but Luffy catches each one. He sees Lucci's hands get into position for Six King Pistol, but Lucci holds him in place with his tail and unleashes a devastating ultimate radius Six King Pistol. Lucci starts to walk away, but Luffy remains standing. Aokichi's words and everything is heard of and from Robin through the whole ordeal ring out, as Luffy punches as fast and as many times as he can. Lucci tries to use Iron Body, but it's not enough to stop Luffy's Gum Gum Jet Gatling from pummeling him across the room and then through the wall. Everyone takes notice as Lucci falls to the ground, unconscious, and Hattori lands on his shoulder. On the ground himself, Luffy shouts to Robin that it's time for them to go back together, and a transmission rings out that Luffy has defeated Rob Lucci.
Oh boy.
Hattori!
Okay.
There he is.
So I now know why I couldn't see it. Because like it's in a leopard print. So like Hattori shows up and it kind of like blends in. I'm like, oh no wonder I didn't see it.
It's very subtle. He gives like a little coup. But he's back. He's all good.
Oh man. God, I love Usopp so much in this arc. Like this is very reminiscent, obviously, of his fight with Luffy, where he kind of just like he's picking this fight that he knows he can't win, but like,
But then he does anyway.
yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of that part, but it's just like kind of.
Well, I love it because I think to Usopp, like, there's no, and Usopp's saying, no, I'm not fucking fighting Lucci. This is what I need to do to get Luffy to come back.
Oh, I'm
This
sorry, I
is-
misinterpreted what you were saying. Yeah, Usopp.
I think
Well, Origin, I understand the
honestly,
same way.
I think he would have. I think he would have fought him. Like if Luffy didn't get up, I think he would have fought him. I think like because his dream is to be a brave, like warrior of the sea, right? And like, you guys had talked about this. I don't want to like pull up the previous so much, but like his fight with Luffy was like so important with like setting that standard of it's hard being surrounded by very very powerful like people that like you see that are just so amazing, and he has this very simple dream of like being this brave, just so simple, like brave warrior of the sea, and like he does what he can. He just like he's just gonna face every challenge, and he might look like a coward to a lot of people, but when the moments matter, like he is like that brave warrior. It's shining through, and like I'm sure that if Luffy didn't get up, I'm sure he would have fought him. I'm sure he would have done it, and he would have lost. But that's not the point. So
I agree with that. I agree that if Luffy didn't get back up, then yes, Usopp would have gone, okay, I'm dying a brave death moment. And I didn't think of it from that angle, which I appreciate. I guess in my mind up until so, I think I might have to like sit with what you just mentioned after this. In my mind, it was that Usopp is down, but that's not his plan. The thing that I like about this so much is that Usopp knows how to goad Luffy, and the thing that Usopp can do is put on a show
Yes.
and distract and get under people's skin. And to me, I'm like, oh no, like Usopp in this moment can get Luffy to get back up again
Yeah.
by using the thing that Luffy cares about and getting him emotional and using those. Because it's like this is my best friend. I know how to get him to work, and it just felt like a nice climax to that arc for Usopp for me.
Yeah, I think it's all bark, no bite. But like the purpose was to
all good. No, you don't have to agree. That's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think yeah. So like Usopp was shouting like an empty threat, like, "Hey, come on, I'll fight you." Like you said, just to have Luffy hear that, because like Luffy knows that Usopp would get annihilated. Usopp knows he'll get annihilated, but he's trying to give Luffy a reason to fight and to get up and motivate him. Because if Lucci goes over there, Usopp is dead in seconds. Like he's not even gonna be able to fight. Even if he intends to fight, I think it's a moot point because I think Lucci would just kill him instantly. But he knows that Luffy needs to get up, and Luffy is our only hope. So his goal is to get Luffy back in the fight to defeat Lucci because he's the only one that can.
I think it's an
But it's
interesting.
not full. No, I'm done. Evan, you go.
No, I just think it's an interesting discussion because I feel like Usopp's always been, he's wanted to be brave, but has always been cowardly in those moments. But I think ever since he put on the mask and was Sniper King, I think we've seen a different Usopp than we had before. I think Usopp was much more courageous behind the mask and stepped up and was, fighting those battles a little bit more so than we've seen him fight in the past, and like had some killer moves too. And I think he was fighting with confidence at times as well. So it's kind of interesting because in this moment he does take his mask off and he's Usopp again and kind of, I don't know. I do think I think kind of like what Joel was saying, like he's kind of trying to rally Luffy in that moment, but who knows? I feel like I'm kind of on the fence because I'm like, oh, like he is showing more confidence fighting. He's got like this new weapon. This has been a really strong arc for him, I think. So
I definitely think like the objective of like getting Luffy to get up is part of what he's doing, right? But like for me, I still feel like him, like I don't think he'd run away for the fight. If
I
like,
agree, I don't think he would either.
Oh, I don't think he'd run away either. No, yeah.
Because like him, like we've seen during Enos Levy, like he's fought all these fights, like putting on this mask, but his first real step of like bravery, I think, was like him fighting Luffy. I think like without the mask, like facing a headstrong, like
yeah.
So I think that was like a big, huge step for Usopp, like the kind of cowardly thing he's done up to that point. But I definitely agree. Like, yeah, he's like the overall objective for sure is to get Luffy up, right?
Yeah,
because Luffy's gonna want to protect his friend as this dangerous creature looms over to him.
Yeah. In that respect, I completely agree with you. Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask the question I think we're all asking is, wait, when did Usopp get here? No, because Luffy finally realized, he's like, Usopp, you came. So he's still not connecting the dots. That Usopp has been here the whole time. He's now seeing Usopp is here, so he's like, I think he's like, oh, I'm happy to see you, but like dude, like why are you here? It's too dangerous for you. You should be like, you shouldn't be here. Yeah, with everything said and done, Luffy is able to eventually get enough strength to give like one final attack with his Jum Jum his Gum Gum Jet Gatling, uh, which is an awesome double page spread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
So like just like the one jet pistol, like you don't see like any hands. So like with the Gatling, it's like a whole series of like those like blasts going over Lucci. We don't see his fists like you normally would with the Gatling.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've got some stuff to say, but I don't know when to butt in or something.
Yeah, go for it.
Essentially. I think broadly, I love the chapter. I love the Usopp stuff. I definitely am on the camp of he would die immediately. Yes, he would, but I do not think he'd run. I absolutely think he would have fought, or he would have tried to take a sniper shot at Lucci and then would have had his neck broken. But like, I love all that, and I love Usopp rallying Luffy. I do not think Luffy should have gotten hit by that next attack, that like the Six King thing, and then got back up again. That stretched it too far for me. I think it is just like, really? He takes another one of these, he gouts another burst of blood out of his mouth, but now it's fine. He just gets back up and then he punches him. It's like I'm cool with the last rally. Lead that right into him beating Lucci. Don't let Lucci get another ultimate attack off. For me, it just strains it too much, which is ridiculous in this series. I know. I love for One Piece where it's over the top in terms of like how anyone you could just come back from the brink of anything, but it just feels like too much like whatever. I'm literally vomiting blood, but it doesn't matter. I'm still fine. Not fine, but you know what I mean. Like I still wasn't enough for me to not immediately to then fight you again. It's like, I think that extra last attack from Lucci was just like too much for my brain. I don't know.
I see where you're coming from. I feel like
Yeah.
Luffy was fucked up
Yeah,
at the beginning of
it's
this
just
chapter. Like his face, like one of his eyes, when he's looking up at Usopp and realizing Usopp is there, he's got like a dead eye, and his other eye's like lazily looking up. Like I'm like, wow, I've never seen Luffy this messed up before. And that was the beginning of the chapter. That was before
That was
all
the
this
beginning
battle.
of the chapter before he gets hit like twice by the ultimate super attack.
Yep.
And it just felt a bit too much. Like, and it's also the certain sense of like he beats Lucci by just punching him really hard and just never giving up, which is like, on the one hand, cool and incredibly a Luffy thing to do. I'm not going to deny it's not in character, but how does he beat Crocodile? By figuring out a strategy with his blood. How does he beat Enru? Well, because there's like this rubber electricity thing and he has the golden ball on his arm, and it's more creative too. He beats Lucci just by being super tough. Essentially, he just outlasts him, which is like, okay, I guess. It's not quite as creative, but the rest of the chapter, I think, makes up for that for me. I love Usopp's speech. I love the whole, Usopp, you're here? That's great. I love how that. So overall, I still really enjoyed it, but that's just my one little quibble.
I totally get that.
I think for me, like I think there's like different types of fights that you can present, right? Like I don't like a fight being creative, like how he fights Crocodile is really cool, and that's a memorable thing we take away from that. I personally didn't care too much about the Enru fight because I thought it was just so one-sided to Luffy that it wasn't like, he's the weakness, that's the joke. But for this one, I thought this is probably obviously the hardest fight Luffy has had to fight up to this point, and like truly like kind of beaten to like the very brink, right? And that's a fight in itself. Like that, like we haven't had that yet, right? Where like really push to the limit of like fighting an enemy that's like so powerful and dangerous, and like it's a shonen. Like he has the moment where like his friends call upon him, he gets up and he does one final move, and he kind of lets it all go in one last final hit where he just pummels him out. And it's simple. And like you said, it's a Luffy thing to do, but this is like no different to me than like any other like really like iconic shonen fight, right?
I broadly,
Like,
yeah, I agree where you're coming from. It's just like
yeah.
we had to have this like fight through the pain fight at least
Yes, of
once.
course.
I will say though that I disagree that he hasn't been brought to this because Crocodile beats him like twice, and he only survives just because of
that's
like
fair.
fate.
Yeah.
Luffy was dead, and then the universe was like, no, you're not.
Yeah,
Like, that was it. Like
that's fair because he did literally almost die twice.
I think
Crocodile,
I do
like-
think it's a bit different though.
But it's like
because,
not to the point of like exhaustion.
Yeah, it's like Crocodile basically kills him, but then he's like,
And
like
then
yeah,
the
you know.
world decides he has to keep going. Like
Yeah.
literally,
So
it's the most Deus Ex, and I don't mind it, but it's like
Yeah.
the Deus Ex Machina decides Lucy gets the win.
yes. But it's different than like a mid fight of like being
Yeah.
brought to the break, right? Like
I
it's a
get
very
you,
abrupt,
yeah.
like, oh, Crocodile beats him. It's like, yeah, Crocodile's
Yeah, it
pretty
was very
strong.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to also expand upon like Sean's point, like when he does take too many Six King pistols, it makes you. I feel like it feels like the attack is weaker
Yeah.
because it's like if this is like the most powerful attack and he's just taking multiple one after the other. It's like it kind of makes the stakes feel. I mean, like when I was reading it, like I felt like they're high stakes, and it's like wow, like it's crazy Luffy like wins this, but like yeah, it does make it feel like the threat of this attack that's supposed to be so powerful is less powerful because it's not doing the job. You know,
It would be cool, and maybe that's the assumption. Maybe this is the hidden subtext or something of just. But maybe if there was like a line from Lucci, like, I can't put all. This is actually taking a toll on me. This Six Kings
Yeah.
was not as strong, and maybe that again. Maybe that is the subtext, but it's not stated. So I
Yeah.
guess that's what I have to. What I'll choose to believe is that this Six Kings was not. It's like half power or something.
Well,
like
so,
because
like, that's actually,
he's so
like-
exhausted.
That's a really like valid point because like it's something that definitely creeped up in my brain, which is like when he brings out the Six King pistol, it's like, well, why didn't you just do this kind of early? Like, is this like a more of like, oh, I'm playing with my food type of thing? Like that's how I kind of try to process it, but I kind of wish they would explain what was so special about Six King pistol. Again, we can like try to use context clues of like that's why I was asking before about like maybe it's a translation thing of like the shockwave, but like it's. Yeah, so he's using every element like of like the mastery of this like this six skills, right? But like how is that like feeding into the Six King pistol? Because it definitely doesn't feel that impactful. Like even from the very beginning, I was like, oh, it's a really heavy hit. It hurts. It's stronger than the impact dial. I kind of didn't get any more out of that.
I
Yeah,
agree with what you guys are saying, and like now that we're discussing it, it is kind of cool because I feel like Lucci's whole thing is he's like power hungry and he's trying to test his strength, and he wants this fight from the get go. He's been waiting for this fight, and like you said, I think he kind of draws it out because he is kind of playing with his food a little bit and trying to test his limits. So I think it's kind of cool that they end up just going for power. Like it's just Luffy just overpowers them. It's like they're going shot for shot. They're just whipping out their strongest attacks and going back and forth. But yeah, I think they could have played that up in the narrative a little more. Like you were saying, like Sean was saying, with like maybe Lucci admitting like, oh, I'm not as strong as I thought I was or something like that, to kind of play up that theme. Because I think a lot of Luffy's other fights, he's like really resourceful or like does something surprisingly smart and it works out, or he tries something unique or new or something. But this one just seemed like, straight up overpowering an opponent.
Yeah, I think it's just I think it's just one of those things in Shonen. It's just like it is what it is.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It's just meant to put the hero in like a tough position, like insurmountable odds, and they still manage to come through at the end. That's what we get here. But
Really?
yeah, do you guys have anything else before we move on?
I don't have anything like well thought out with it. I'll say I definitely see what y'all are saying about the degree of it and the fact that it might be overdone. I do feel like the nature of the fight though does speak to, I guess, just the central conflict of Water 7 versus like, and the sorry, I tried to make this short. I guess the central conflict of it versus the scale of conflicts like Alabasta. Just it being, okay, if you're not strong enough, specifically strong enough, you lose your friends. You're taking out the entire world, you're going to take out everything they give to Robin, to your ship, to anything. And if you were not specifically strong enough, not smart enough, not crafting it, but you're not strong enough to do it. Like you weren't with Aokiji, you lose. And so to me, that makes this more plausible. But I do definitely see how there could be some okay, but like, was the third one really necessary? And like, what is this attack? I definitely see that stuff, and that does make sense as a valid critique of this moment to me.
I really do agree that like if they had just said something about it making him weaker, it would have felt better in some way. Like give some reason why this thing wasn't being used as much, or like why it could be degrading over time.
This is where the beautiful thing that has helped me through so many stories across mediums, across anime, books, movies. The beautiful thing I call headcanon. And this is my headcanon. It's just that Lucci was like, "Fuck, this one isn't going to be as good. I don't have the juice for a full one." Like, so,
yeah. He does stumble at one point. Like he does stumble right before making an attack. Like, but they didn't continue that.
Yeah,
and it also is in character, I suppose, for Rob. I'm going to call just to differentiate for Rob to be so arrogant that he doesn't want to admit to himself that this attack is going to be weaker, even though he knows internally that it is. So okay, it works.
That was stronger than my last one.
That one was even better.
All right, but I want to keep things moving. We still have 3 more chapters to get through. So let's move on to the next part of the cover story. The limited cover series number 9, Endless Vars.
Oh look.
Andrew arrives at the moon on Arc Maxim. So he's doing it.
He's doing it. He's doing what he wanted.
But to Cody's point, which moon?
Which one?
Ooh.
Okay. Let's get on to the next chapter. Chapter 428. Let's go back. The Navy can't believe Lucci lost, but the Straw Hats celebrate. There is a voice on the transponder snail rejoicing as well. Frankie hears the voice of Zombie to everyone's confusion. Navy thought they had wiped them out, but they were able to catch themselves with Polly's ropes, suspending them over the edge. To Frankie's relief, they're okay, but they tell him they have their own way of escaping, so they'll meet up with him later. The Navy observes Luffy, reporting that he's not moving. Luffy says he can't move, but Usopp shouts at him not to be ridiculous. He already won. He just needs to get out of there. Nami plans to bring the ship to Luffy, but that plan falls to pieces as the ship blows up. Sanji reappears and was able to grab everyone off the ship in time. When Nami asks where he's been, he says he has some business to attend to. The Navy begins to destroy the Bridge of Hesitation, chopping them at the edge with nowhere else to run. Robin tries to use her powers to move Luffy, but it's no use, as she won't be able to get him across the large gap from the support structure to the bridge. As they begin to shout for Luffy to get up, Usopp hears another voice. Luffy hears it too. Tell him to look down. The rest of the Strats begin to hear the voice now as well. Usopp looks down and tells them all to jump into the sea. Luffy tells Robin to push Luffy into the sea, as they have one more shipmate who came to help. The Strats all jump into the sea as the bridge above them explodes. They land aboard the Going Merry.
Here it comes.
There he goes again.
So we get this concept. It was introduced a little earlier as well. So at the beginning of the volume, Usopp said he heard something, but they didn't elaborate on that any further. But Usopp was already starting to hear the voice of the Merry earlier in the volume, but now everybody else is starting to hear it now too. So thoughts on this chapter?
Polly, strongest character in all of One Piece, evidence has been presented, and I will take no criticism of the statement.
I can't argue with that.
Toronto, my client is widowy, saving people with wope. He is doing a big rescue.
Including 2 giants and 2 king bulls. So impressive.
So they're okay. Luckily they had some rope.
Yeah.
Although I will admit, reading the earlier chapters, I did feel like the emotional beats with it. Just like the devastation and them getting blasted, and like Frankie having to process his friends died. But it's another fake out.
It's another fake out, everybody.
Man, this Buster Call is only killing Navy people.
I love the thing that like Usopp just screams out, and then everyone kind of starts going into it. It's like jump into the sea, and everyone just starts screaming into the sea,
Into the sea.
Yeah.
like a call to adventure, right? Like just go towards the sea. Like there's
Yeah.
one more shipmate. So it's so wonderful.
It's a
I
great
do think this is
moment.
like a great setup too, because like they set up where it's like, you know, Luffy won, but now he can't move, and then it's like they're destroying the bridge, so they have nowhere to run. They're surrounded by ships on all sides. They blow up their escape ship, so they have no way out. So things are looking dire, and it's like the Navy's thinking like, oh, the only thing they can do is like just jump into the sea, and like I guess die, but so they don't see what the strats are seeing.
Yeah, I really love the conclusion of this chapter. Like Robin getting to save Luffy's life.
Yeah,
Right at the end here, and then the reveal of the merry-go, which I feel like I knew we'd see the merry-go again, because I'm like, the last time we saw the merry-go, it just like wasn't the ceremonious departure that I was expecting. I'm like, this can't be it. This can't be the. I remember that episode. I'm like, this can't be the end of the merry-go. So I feel like I was expecting to see the merry-go again, but this did catch me off guard, and I was like very pleasantly surprised to see the merry-go just kind of talking to the crewmates, which was very cool.
Yeah,
a nice touch.
it says I came for you. And like I love that little panel too. I think the smile on the face. Like I love how the Mary just always has that smile.
Yep.
Yeah, some very exciting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sanji had some business to attend to. Whatever that is.
Very mysterious. He got there just in time though to grab everybody off the ship before it happened to explode.
Yep.
So
we never let
good foresight.
We would never let them get hurt. No.
And it's, another fake out too, where it's like, oh no, like everybody in the ship just died. Oh wait, no, okay, hold on. They're all good. So we like 3 fake outs like in one chapter.
Sanji says, "I don't know how, but we made it."
There's your answer.
There's your answer.
Palpatine returned.
Yeah, I mean,
now the crew's all together again, officially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Officially. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really think there's too much more to go over.
It's very much like kind of like a wrap up like chapter, right? Like we just had such a huge climax of like defeating Lucci, so it's wonderful like leaving on going on the side of like, hey, like the merry-go's here. It's come to save the day when everything felt so hopeless, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it's just kind of building like, like they may have won, but like, like their only way out, basically backing them into a corner just to be like, just to reintroduce the Mary here in a very exciting fashion.
Reading some of those chapters, and there's one later on where it's like everything's just so well done, and like the emotion is all just right there on the page. I'm like, I can't find much to say about it that isn't just already there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about in the before the volume wraps up. But let's move on to the next part of the cover story. Enryu's Great Space Mission Volume 2, Arrival at the Endless Vars. Enryu looks on at all the land stretched out before him.
So he can breathe in space. That's the thing.
He is a god.
Yeah, you would dare disrespect the god?
He's a god. He made lightning.
Look, does lightning need to breathe? Whatever.
Does rubber need to breathe? What are we doing here?
Sand need to breathe? Crocodile on the moon confirmed?
Crocodile on the moon confirmed. Crocodile's on Mars. He's already 10 steps ahead of y'all.
Holy shit.
I'm happy he's happy. I'm happy he's like, yes, I've got it. I'm here. I'm like, you got it, man.
This is all I wanted. I just had to kill a few innocent people for it, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
I have all this room for activities.
Want to make gold in the garage?
Yeah, so in the One Piece world, we don't know if the moon has oxygen.
It
Yeah.
might.
We don't know.
Again, yes, that is true. It's
But
never
also-
said.
And also, which moon is this? Our moon does not have oxygen, but there are many moons that could.
I should stop making assumptions on everything I see. Like the water might not be the water we think of. It could be totally acidic, you know?
No, that
Everyone's
water's the
just
same.
Oh yeah, it is.
All right. Cody, you want to give us your summary for the next one?
Yeah. Sorry. that was very good. All right. Chapter 429, Utter Defeat. The Marines look on in utter shock as the Straw Hats, Frankie, Kokoro, Jimmy, and Gombe jump into the sea toward the Mary. Kokoro fishes Luffy, Robin, and Chopper out of the water while the Straw Hats express tearful joy and confusion at their ship somehow saving them. Luffy tries to thank Robin for her help, but she covers his mouth and instead thanks them. Luffy laughs it off as Zoro and Sanji start to argue like usual, and Robin smiles. Spandam, enraged, falsely claims that Admiral Aokiji gave orders to sink Robin and the Straw Hats. The warships close in on the Mary from all angles and fire, but their cannons miraculously miss. Without orders, the gates of justice have started closing, creating whirlpools that set the ships off course and throw off their sights. Sanji cheerily looks on, and Usopp realizes that's why he disappeared. Nami's navigation lets the Mary ride the whirlpools with ease, but one cannon manages to aim itself right at the ship. Zoro and Sanji think quickly and grab Luffy's limbs, which let them slingshot the cannonball back at the Marines and congratulate themselves with the double victory sign. Luffy laughs as they speed further and further from Enies lobby, but Spandam keeps barking orders for the ship to be sunk. Hands sprout from his body as Robin looks right at him, then pulls and snaps his back. I'm just gonna say W. Anyway, back into it. One ship tries to block the Mary, but Frankie is able to coup de vent them away, and Usopp fires a smokescreen at the Marines. The ships keep firing, unable to follow because of the whirlpools, and the rest of their group get away on the Puffing Tom. Once the gates of justice close, the Marines decide they should keep following the Straw Hats. But after seeing things play out from his bicycle, Admiral Aokiji thinks it's obvious that the instance was an utter defeat for their side. At sea, Luffy sits on a special seat. Frankie reminds Luffy how much trouble the crew will be in, but Luffy smiles and cheers because they got Robin back and won the fight. Sorry, I had to take a brief interlude to... I call myself, but like...
Well deserved.
Best, the clutch. She came in clutch, truly.
Yeah.
She clutched that spine.
Yeah.
Break his fucking back. Okay.
She really snapped him in half.
Yeah, she did.
I really wish
You
you
ever
killed
just feel
him.
like now I want to live with the back pain.
It's gonna feel that one tomorrow.
And tomorrow.
Next day.
And the next day.
And the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean this chapter is great. It's it like for the arc itself, it's been a struggle for the Straw Hats, right, up to this point, you know. But this is, you know, it looks like they're untouchable. It's just like, you know, all of them together, like they can't be stopped. The Navy, the government's struggling as much as they can, you know, shooting each other. It's super cool to see everyone kind of like be a crew, you know, like Nami's navigating, Chopper's running to the rudder, Frankie's helping kind of escape, and it's definitely really everyone doing their part. It's funny that Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy's part is this stupid, idiotic plan of slingshotting a cannonball back. And Cody, I know you said it was a double victory sign, but it's funny that Luffy also does the victory sign, right? He's like on the ground
you're
dying.
right.
He's like,
You're right.
yes.
You said that too.
And it's like it's so funny because it could be Luffy just on the ground in pain, but no, he's like, yes, I was also part of this plan. We did it.
That was the same shot. I contributed. I just love that Robin gets to like finally enjoy this. Finally
Yeah.
enjoy the adventure and just like the fact that he's like these morons and their shenanigans. It's her home. I love that.
Yeah, some great Robin moments. I also love when she puts her hand over Luffy's mouth. Like that was such a such a cute moment. And then yeah, obviously the satisfaction when she gets the expand him in half, who's like slowly morphed into the hideous monster that he is. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
Finally, his
That was
outside
so
matches his
satisfying.
inside completely. Yeah.
Yep. So satisfying. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Mhm.
Truly.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Spawn is just like desperately grasping for any sort of control that's like already slipped out of his hand. Like he's like making up orders. Like, oh yeah, no, Aokiji gave these orders. So he's like basically going over Aokiji's head and be like, I'm actually like contradicting his order specifically. Like I'm more important. Like I'm just desperate. I need to make this order to get Robin. We need to get her back no matter what.
Loser had to get one more in.
The viewpoint I had for that was like, is not even a I need to get ahead thing. I think it's just like pure selfishness of like, I
Yeah.
don't even care what the government wants at this point.
Yeah.
I just don't. I just want to kill them because I want to get back at them. It's like,
Yeah. So his
most,
goals are
like,
more important. Yeah.
yeah, like it's the most like foolish thing. And then like who's Aokiji, like kind of just like watching it all unfold. Like I don't know. He's definitely lazy. How
Like,
long do you think he's there?
I heard my Buster Call was triggered. I want to check on and see how that's going.
I should go check that out, huh? I mean, they've also raised Aegis Lobby to the ground at this point, you know. So it's just
We blew up the headquarters of the CIA. Langley's destroyed, but at least they got away. It's like,
utter defeat.
what a waste, y'all! Like,
I see some bounties going up
Oh yeah,
That's a possibility.
Oh yeah.
by a lot, if I had to guess.
Yeah, but I do love that the chapter is called Utter Defeat because it almost plays with their expectations. Like you don't really think they're gonna lose, but like to turn around so much where it's like, oh, the utter defeat was the Navy saying that they were defeated, as opposed to like the Straw Hats being completely surrounded and they got defeated. So I just kind of like that. I mean, like I said, you don't think that the Straw Hats are gonna lose, but it's kind of a nice like twist on like how you would expect that to go.
Yeah.
Actually, Evan, I'm curious. So you think the bounties are going to go up?
Yeah.
For whom and by how much?
I think all the
Any-
Straw Hats
any
by quite a bit.
Okay.
Because right now only
I don't know.
3 of them have bounties.
Luffy's 100, Zoro is I think 60, and then Robin has 79.
What's Luffy's currently?
100 million.
100 million Berry Man.
I bet you it doubles.
Okay, all right.
But I also think
Okay.
some of the other Straw Hats are going to be getting posters too.
Ooh.
Is my prediction.
Okay,
Okay.
Yep.
we'll see.
We'll see.
Let's find out.
I mean, Usopp is already on one of the posters. But get his own poster, maybe. It'd be funny if it was Sniper King and not Usopp.
That'd be pretty great.
That is very funny.
And then we also get like the rest of the Galileo and Frankie family. They left in the Puffing Tom.
Yeah.
So luckily, I guess it was still there, so they were able to just get on. Maybe defeat whoever Navy people were on there.
I guess so.
Yeah, and then like we talked about before, like Sanji was able to do his thing and cause the whirlpools to reform by closing the gates of justice and gave them a clean break.
Aokiji with like a pretty stoic response, I think. Doesn't seem overly mad or upset about this.
Yeah.
Would you say it's
He's
a
a pretty
bit
stoic
cold?
guy.
Would you say it's a bit cold of him? He might be. He's pretty
He's pretty
chill
chill.
about the situation.
Oh my
He does seem like a pretty
God.
cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on this one before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. Before we wrap up, we have Enru's Great Space Mission Volume 3, Something in the Crater. Enru comes across a crater and peeks in to see what's inside.
Mm.
So remember, he does have mantra. So
I've forgotten
he's-
what that even means.
That's
I hate to
right.
Yeah.
say.
So he's able to sense things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So by him sensing things, like there probably is something in this crater. So he
Probably
has like a
good.
reason for looking into this crater in particular.
And I think his is supercharged because of the lightning powers, right? Because he like increased like electric signals to his brain.
Because he did have a stronger mantra than everybody else, but I don't know if it was ever explained why.
It's not important.
All right, but we'll find out more about that in the next volume. But for right now, chapter 430, A Light Snow of Reminiscence falls. Luffy and Chopper call for Usopp, unaware that he's the one wearing the Sniper King mask. Sniper King reassures them that Usopp went on ahead in a small boat. Luffy thinks that's weird, since the Merry belongs to him now. Nami checked out the ship and found out there was no one else aboard. Zoro said they heard a voice calling to them, which Luffy asserts was the Merry. Nami thought the same thing and wonders if it's even possible. Luffy spots another ship approaching. It's a large Galilei ship led by Iceberg. Galilei thought the Merry was lost to Aqua Laguna. As everyone celebrates the Strat's safe return, the front half of the Merry falls apart. Luffy pleads for Iceberg to do something, shouting the Merry came to save them. Iceberg declares it's time to let it rest, and he's done all he can. Back at Water 7 during the storm, he came across the ship. He sensed the ship wanting to sail one more time and did a patch job on it, even though he thought it was pointless. The ship thanked him and sailed off. Even though Aqua Laguna was still raging, he ordered to prepare a ship to follow. He says he witnessed a miracle, and the ship went beyond its limits. Luffy understood. They all disembarked onto smaller boats. Luffy raised a torch, announcing they're here to see the Merry off. He sets the ship on fire, thanking it for all it's done for them. As it begins to snow, they all think back on the journey together, the adventures they've had. As the Merry burns, it apologized that it couldn't carry them further. Luffy begins to cry, shouting they're the ones who are sorry. He wishes that they had taken better care of her. Even so, the Merry told them that she was happy. The Merry thanked them for taking care of her as the flames engulf the ship. Yeah, this is a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how about we start with Evan, because this is Evan's first time through the series. So I want to get his thoughts on like how this played out.
Yeah, I thought this was a beautiful send off for the Merry. Like I said before, I felt so unsatisfied with the last our last interaction with Merry before Mary's reappearance. So I think this was a send off befitting of the Merry, and I thought it was particularly beautiful with the flashbacks. Everyone's kind of remembering their time spent. Their adventures had on the Merry. Yeah, I thought it was a really beautiful, really touching moment, and really well done. But yeah, she's finally gone. That's really sad.
No, how about you, Sean?
I mean, yeah, I don't remember precisely when I first read this back in the day, but it's the end, like it's the end of the era, it's an end of an era. It's you don't often see series last. It's an example of just something this had to be built up over the course of several hundred chapters for this to have the impact that it does. Like, you couldn't just do this like within 50 chapters and be like, well, okay, we barely known this ship. The fact that it's been this long and they're like, we're going to treat this vehicle for most series is like as it's as much it's it's like their childhood home burning down almost in a way. Like it's, but in a more positive light than that to some degree, in the sense of like it's more of like a, I don't know, fulfilling moment as much as it is a sad one, but of just how far they've come. But yeah, it's, I mean, it's beautiful, it's sad, it's, there's hope for the future, but there's also for now sorrow at what could have been. I don't know, yeah, it's very good.
How about you, Cody?
I don't. Dude, I can't. I keep thinking I'm okay, and I see a new face in one of the Straw Hats, and I just get fucked up again. It's just a perfect moment. And yeah, that's hyperbole. And no, I don't even know this, but yeah, I don't have words for this song. I don't. It's just, it's all right there.
All right. How about you, Andy?
Fucking boat.
I think it's a wonderful moment. I One of the biggest things about this is like, I mean, I could go on about just the sheer chances of it, like, like iceberg hearing the voice, to then being repaired, to then it floating off during the storm, to find its way in the midst of Enos Lobby, in the middle of all of those Navy ships, to call upon its friends, its crew, for one last adventure, and then just to carry them away for like one last ride. It's so wonderful. And I think one of the greatest moments for me for sure is it's sad. It really is to see the ship, and then us seeing all the moments it's been through. It's so wonderful because it reminds you of this adventure, right? Like this One Piece is this wonderfully grand adventure, and the ship like did these wonderful things. It started off on this small little port given as a gift to set sail for like this amazing adventure, and it did go on that. It went up a mountain, it flew in the sky. Like, how wonderfully fantastic. And you can only probably just think like Usopp or somebody just sitting on the ship talking about these amazing adventures they're going to have, and they couldn't even come close to the things that the merry-go was able to do. And then for it to apologize for like one last go, that I couldn't go a little bit further. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, then just apologizing back is truly, truly beautiful. So yeah, I don't. It's great. And One Piece is a wonderful adventure, and it's sad that it ends here for it, but like it did so much. I think that's a beautiful like thing to keep in mind. Is like, yeah, like it's done for it, but you can look back at all the wonderful things that have been accomplished, and you can be happy. You like, you don't have to have any regrets.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful send off for the Mary. So we just like throughout the volume we joked about how nobody dies in One Piece, but the Mary, like that's what makes this like hard too, is because like this really hits harder than I think most. And like you'll hear sometimes people say like One Piece will make you cry about a ship. This is the moment that they're referring to. And it's true. Like when I was reading the chapter, like I literally had like tears streaming down my face as well. And like when I was like typing up the summary, like I was like trying to hold back the tears as I'm looking back to the pages. But yeah, it's super impactful, and like this, the build up to this as well is like, with Water 7, like they said the Mary won't be able to complete another journey. So even though the Mary knew it didn't have any journeys left in it, it made this last trip, and like it kind of defied all odds, and it even spoke to Iceberg, So Iceberg was kind of not even sure like if he was even hearing it, if like what was going on. So he decided to make that decision to try to help the ship fulfill its last wish. And the Mary was able to one more time get the crew together and save them. So like Nami points out, there was nobody on the ship controlling the ship. The ship did this on its own. And that's like the real beautiful part about it, is the ship had such a strong will for something that's supposed to be an inanimate object. Like it had that will of its own. And we saw at the Kablatermon the concept of like introducing that there's like a spirit for the ship. So that this is all kind of built up to in this case. And unfortunately, the Mary, as I said, did not make the rest of the journey. So it couldn't make its way back. So if they were trying to go with the Mary, they would have like collapsed in the middle of the sea. And it's almost like, it's actually kind of comical the way that the ship just kind of like cracks in half as they're like they're sailing. It's like, all right, everything's all good, and it cracks in half. So it's like before we get to this moment, so we have like these kind of moments of levity, but then we get to the moments where the crew is starting to realize like this is it. We have to say goodbye to the Mary, and the Mary got to go out on its own terms. So the Mary got to be with all of its friends and the people it cared about. It got to have this conversation with them, where you got to express like that it was happy. So even though like they didn't realize like how much damage they were doing to the Mary throughout, the Mary found it to be worthwhile and enjoyed their time together. So it was all worth it for the Mary. Like Andrew was saying, like no regrets. So the Mary was happy throughout that whole experience, and Luffy is the one that gets to give Mary the final send off. And yeah, just like the last page is like I lost it there. Yeah, with the flames going over the Mary, but yeah, so it's such a powerful chapter and such a strong way to end the volume. And this is technically the end of the Enies Lobby arc, but I'm going to put off the ranking, include the next volume as well. So we'll get some like kind of wrap up stuff that I think it's not worth it to call its own arc. So we'll include that with the Enies Lobby ranking. So we'll do that next week. But this is the way that they end the Enies Lobby arc.
Yeah, I mean, I just love that it did get to have like that, what we saw before, where all the crew got to do something. Everyone's kind of giving the middle finger to the government and like, giving what for. Like they're all
Yeah.
like freaking out. It's like they're all laughing and having fun and being in that adventure. The merry-go was able to like join one more time. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like so bittersweet because like everybody's back together.
Yeah.
One last time, they got the band back together. They saved everybody. They did what they meant to do. But yeah, there's one person that like couldn't make it, and that was the Mary. So unfortunately, they have to say goodbye to the ship. But like I was saying, they got to go out on their own terms and have like a nice moment for the Mary, as opposed to like everyone was saying before. It was like very unceremonious when Kaku just dropped the Mary from like the workstation or whatever. But yeah, luckily that's not the way the Mary went out. The Mary went out in a much better way. They get to essentially have a funeral for the Mary.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I know this was a tough one, but I'm glad that we got to get everybody on for this one here. But before we sign off, did you guys have any final thoughts you wanted to get out? Any other thoughts on the volume as a whole?
It's an all-timer for me and for everybody else. I may not be as visibly emotional because I don't respond to stories usually that way like others, but I absolutely, it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I think this might be in like my
No,
top.
go ahead, buddy.
I was just saying, like, I think this volume is like in my overall like top 5, top 10 of the entire series. Yeah, that's all.
I would definitely agree. It's one that sticks for many people. It sticks with them for quite a bit, and for me especially as well.
So powerful, and it's cool. It was cool seeing like the flashbacks, and like now the 5 of us are also having these flashbacks and getting to talk about like this series on a whole and all the adventures.
Yeah,
it's a really powerful moment, and I think Oda did an amazing job portraying that. and really getting the emotion across. And like you said, when the ship kind of like, you said almost like comically cracks, for me it was like the mayor was like holding on until that other ship got there.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
then kind of
Yep.
just like, and kind of just let go, because it was like, all right, like the crew's safe.
Like they
You know,
made it.
I'm not marooning them in the ocean. Like, you know, Iceberg is here. And
Yeah.
it was sweet that Iceberg had that moment as well.
Iceberg.
That played his role as well. Yeah. Such
Yeah,
a
and the
great
fact that
volume.
he I was just gonna say, like, the fact that like he decided he made that decision to go out in the storm as well. So like he was like that committed to like on the Mary to have this moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he kind of put himself and his like crew at risk to go out in the storm, but they were fine.
'Cause he and Frankie are both shipwrights, right? At the end of the day, like Frankie also gave it pretty clear, like this ship's done. Like,
Yeah.
like there's no point in doing more. Like just being the logical, experienced shipwright they are. So for Iceberg to go out during the storm to go and fix this ship, it's just like he even saying just like, what am I even doing? Like,
Yeah, very
what?
deliberate.
It would be far
Yeah.
crueler to try to keep the ship going than to let it die. Essentially,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Which they finally realize. Understand. Well, Usopp especially finally realizes.
Yeah, Usopp comes around here as well, so that's
Yeah,
also very important to note. Like Usopp
Yeah.
does recognize it is time. But Evan, I didn't mean to cut you off, but did you have more to add?
No,
there?
I just wanted to say in summary how good of a chapter it was, and like to continue what you were just saying, like this was the argument that started the rift between Luffy and Usopp. So I think they're gonna, I think this will give them a space to kind of bury the hatchet.
Hopefully. But yeah, that is going to be where we end the story for right now. It really does feel like an end of an era, and this was a nice way to kind of like think back on what they have gone through, and to say goodbye to somebody who's been with us for most of the series up to this point. So
At this point, we were like about just about 10 years of publication. So
Yeah.
it's really truly end of an era.
All right. But that will conclude this week's episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. You can find this episode wherever podcasts are found at We're Reading One Piece podcast.buzzsprout.com or on our YouTube channel at We're Reading One Piece. This is a spoiler-free channel up to where we have recorded the podcast, so if you're new to the series, you can visit the channel there. You can also find me and this podcast on my YouTube channel at Pirate King Codex for more One Piece content. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at wearereadingonepiece@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from listeners, so if you're enjoying the show, let us know. Or if you have any suggestions on how we can improve, we'd like to hear that. But for next episode, we'll be discussing Volume 45, You Have My Sympathies. I've been Joel, and I've been joined by Sean.
This has been Sean.
Evan.
R.I.P. Mary.
Cody.
Rest in peace, Mary.
And Andy.
Go have many adventures.
It's been a
Be
ride.
sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you on the next episode.